Edible fabric is used in cake decorating for things such as wings for dragons, mermaid tails, or draping on cakes. It is a lot lighter to work with than fondant and is more flexible as well. Today we are making bows, as this trend has really picked up the last year. The idea is to have a large bow and drape the fabric over the sides covering the cake. It gives a very luxurious fabric effect. This is usually dusted with pearl dust and a yellow tinge to the bow. That is what I went with to give an 80s vibe, but colour powders would work as well. Bloom the gelatine. It is important that the gelatine is well hydrated before it is heated up, as this will allow for less bubbles to be formed. Heat gelatine on the stove top or microwave. Scrape off bubbles, as this will affect the smoothness of the fabric. Then add glycerine and stir. You could also use glucose or vegetable oil instead of glycerine if you can't find any. Pour in melted chocolate and stir. If it is starting to thicken too much at this point, place back on the stove and reheat again. We want the mixture to be a runny consistency. Pour onto a silicone mat that has been taped down, or acetate. Spread as thin as you want to the fabric thickness you would like. The thinner the fabric is, the more it will drape onto the cake. Once dry, dust both sides with the food color powder of your choice. For the bow. For the bow, cut 2 strips of the edible fabric. Roll acetate into a cylinder, the shape, and fill with paper towel. Then lay the cylinder in the middle of the rectangle piece of fabric you've cut. Wet the edges and bring both sides together. Scrunch the edges together and pin with some toothpicks and let it dry overnight. Do this again for the other side of the bow. Wrap other fabric in a Ziploc bag and refrigerate overnight. Take out skewers and cut a small rectangle out of some more fabric, as well as 2 large even pieces, which will be the tassels for the bow. Lay the small rectangle down and place both the scrunched rolls edges on top of the small rectangle piece. Fold the small rectangle to cover the edges of the bows. Add the tassels of the bow to the cake, scrunching the top and placing the toothpicks in to hold it in place while it dries. Now place the bow on top, and you either have it standing up or you can place it laying flat. It's up to you. What can I use instead of glycerine? As I said before, you can either use glucose syrup or vegetable oil. This may change the taste and consistency of your fabric. How to store the edible fabric. Edible fabric can be stored in a plastic bag or container. Do not leave stored outside, as the moisture in the fabric will create mold. You can make the fabric 1 week in advance. Once you have made the fabric, place in the fridge in an airtight container or Ziploc bag to keep it moist. Once you have placed the items on your cake, you can put that back in the fridge. The fabric will not melt, but I noticed that my fondant underneath did sweat a little. It did end up drying, but I just wanted you to keep that in mind. And what does edible chocolate gelatine taste like? It tastes like chocolate. And you can use dark chocolate, milk chocolate, any chocolate you'd like for it. I hope you liked watching this recipe, and I hope you give it a go yourself and impress some friends. Maybe you might make it for your own birthday cake. If you liked this video, subscribe for more of these cake tutorials in the future. Thank you.